Hello again. So in this episode of the Chromateq series for LED Player, we are going to be viewing how to make a scene. Okay, so that could be, when I say scene, I also mean like cuelist as well. So if you've used other software from other lighting companies, then you may know it as a cuelist or a Q stack or a chase. So we use things called chases and queues, and what we're going to do is over here where it says in the software add, you click there and then it says you've already made a scene. However, you can call that, for example, Q1 if you wanted to. And the reason why is because we're renaming that as a queue, because if we're going to have a queue would only be one step. If you had two, then that would be two queues in that one. So that would make that a scene now, or a queue list. They like to call it a scene. So a scene equals a queue list, okay? Or a chase. Now, talking about chases, so what a chase is? A chase would be when we have a scene and then we have multiple queues. They would link from one to the next, to the next, to the next. So that would launch and go into that one, then into this one, then into this one, then into this one. So that is how we make a chase. However, because I'm just making it a queue, I'm just going to be calling this Q1. And it's only going to have one queue in this scene, because it's just one queue. I'm just launching them to do something. I'm just launching something to do something. Which in this queue, I'm going to be making the lights turn on. So you could call it Q1 lights on, okay? And then with that, we can select our lights, we can bring up the dimmer, and we can also bring up the shutter as well to the max. And for the dimmers as well, with the source force, then we can bring those up as well. If you don't understand what I'm talking about over here, then you've obviously not watched the last video, so I do recommend that you go and check that out, and that's called channels and presets, and also the previous version of patching fixtures, which was the third episode. So now in here we should have the lights at 100%, and they will be now outputting light, white light. Obviously, these are generic fixtures, which is the Source 4 Genius, and the Source 4s would either have a gel in them or a gobo. So, moving on then, that is a queue. Now, when we're in live mode, you can turn that queue on, and you can turn it off, but just by a touch of a button. We're just going to go to exit. So now, let's make a chase. So we're going to say chase lights on, and what we'll do with a chase is, if we press new step, I'm going to then select my lights and just make sure that everything is set to 0. So I'm going to set this to 0, have this set to 0, just making sure that it is set. There's a problem that I made. We need to make a queue first. There we go. Right, okay, sweet. So then now, in there, now we're going to make on the Q2, which I've just made Q2, we're going to make the lights go up. So they should be off, they should be on. Okay, I'll select all the lights, they should be off, they should be on. So now, when we press play, in theory, that should jump across to the next step. So maybe we need to add maybe a fade time, and I'm not sure if it does highlight them, but we can see if it does or not. It's not highlighting, however, we would be able to see that obviously in the visualizer, which is in the next episode. So that is how to make a queue, and that's how to make a chase. So we've got fade times, which would include fading from this queue to this queue, and then you've also got the hold time, which is how long it would hold for. So it's going to fade for 3 seconds from darkness to brightness, and it's going to hold for 1 second. So that is how to make a chase and how to make a cue, or a scene, if you will, for Chromateq LED Player. In the next episode, we're going to be seeing this with the lighting in our 3D visualizer lesson tutorial, which is going to be using the 3D visualizer. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like or subscribe to our channel. And also, for more information, more videos, you can check out our website, which is ceriumgroup.co.uk/tutorials.